What happens when an entertainment legend sits down, expecting a friendly chat, but instead walks into a verbal minefield? You won't believe what unfolds when Cher faces off against Joy Behar, in what started as a simple appearance but quickly spiraled into television chaos. Before we get into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because you're not going to believe what unfolds. Last night's episode of The View promised to be a celebration of Cher's latest project, but within minutes, the atmosphere in Studio 23 turned ice cold. The tension was palpable from the moment Cher took her seat, her usual warm demeanor replaced by something more guarded. "So Cher, let's talk about your new album," Joy began. But there was an edge to her voice that regular viewers would recognize. "Some critics are saying you're trying too hard to stay relevant with younger audiences. What's your response to that?" The question hit like a slap. Cher's eyes narrowed slightly, her legendary composure wavering for just a moment. "I'm sorry, what exactly are you implying, Joy?" The other hosts shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. This wasn't the playful banter they'd rehearsed. Joy leaned forward, clearly emboldened by Cher's reaction. "Well, you have to admit, at your age, trying to connect with Gen Z seems a bit desperate, doesn't it?" The studio audience fell silent. Cher's jaw tightened, and you could see her deciding whether to play nice or fight back. She chose the latter. "My age?" Cher's voice dropped to that dangerous tone her fans knew all too well. "Joy, honey, I was breaking barriers and speaking truth when you were still figuring out how to hold a microphone without dropping it." The gloves were officially off. Joy's face flushed red, her trademark smile replaced by something far more sinister. What happened next would change everything, and you could feel the entire studio holding its breath as these two powerhouses prepared for war. But Joy wasn't backing down. If anything, Cher's comeback seemed to fuel her fire even more. "Oh, please," she snapped, her voice dripping with condescension. "Let's be honest here, Cher. Your political opinions have become increasingly unhinged. Remember your Twitter meltdowns? The conspiracy theories? The accusation hung in the air like poison gas." Cher's face went stone cold, her famous features hardening into something almost unrecognizable. "Unhinged?" She repeated slowly, each syllable cutting through the silence. "You want to talk about unhinged, Joy? Let's talk about your track record of ambushing guests who don't fit your narrow little worldview." The other co-hosts looked like deer caught in headlights. Whoopi tried to interject with a weak, "Ladies, let's just 12. But both women completely ignored her. Joy's eyes blazed with fury. "I ask the questions that matter, unlike some people who just tweet from their ivory towers without any real understanding of—" "Stop!" Cher's command cut through Joy's rant like a blade. She slowly removed her earpiece, the simple gesture somehow more threatening than any raised voice. "You brought me here under false pretenses, Joy. This isn't journalism, it's a hit job, and frankly, I expected better from someone with your experience." The tension was now so thick you could cut it with a knife, and everyone knew they were witnessing something that would be replayed for years to come. What happened next shocked everyone in that studio. Joy, clearly losing control, made the fatal mistake of going too far. "At least I don't have to rely on plastic surgery and autotune to stay in the public eye." She spat, her voice venomous. "Maybe it's time to accept that your 15 minutes ended decades ago." The studio gasped, collectively. Even the camera operators seemed to freeze. That was the line that should never have been crossed. Cher stood up slowly, her movements deliberate and powerful. When she spoke, her voice was steady but deadly. "You know what, Joy? I've been in this business longer than you've been alive, and I've never encountered such unprofessional, disrespectful behavior from someone who calls themselves a journalist." She turned to face the stunned audience. "This woman invited me here to promote my work, then decided to launch a personal attack instead." Joy tried to interrupt. "Now wait, I'm not finished." Cher's tone could have frozen fire. "You want to talk about relevance? I've sold over 100 million records, won an Oscar, a Grammy, and an Emmy. I've survived 5 decades in entertainment by being authentic, not by tearing down other women on national television. She grabbed her purse with theatrical flair, the same commanding presence that made her a legend, now directed at Joy with devastating effect. I came here as a professional, but I refuse to sit here and be insulted by someone whose biggest talent seems to be starting fights with her guests. The silence was deafening as Cher walked toward the exit, her heels clicking against the floor like a countdown. Just before disappearing behind the cameras, she delivered the final blow. Good luck explaining this to your producers, Joy. I hope the ratings were worth it. And with that, one of entertainment's biggest icons walked off the View set, leaving Joy Behar speechless and the show in absolute chaos.